Next topic we are going to cover is related to canonical tag, which is a widely used SEO element to ensure that all possible variations, duplicates of pages are excluded from the Google index and their value is passed to only one page, which has the higher chance to bid for top positions in Google or any other search engine. So let's look into practice and let's base our example on a product listing page located in one of our clients' website. So here we are on adenanai.com in PLP, on PLP swaddle blankets. And what we see that in code there is canonical tag, which is pointing to the same URL, completely the same, which we can open when trying to access the page from the main menu. So what kind of variations this page can have and what duplicate content issues we might encounter? So first of all, there are possible various filters which add query parameters. So we can filter by, for example, material, and let's select viscose, polyester, and jersey. What happens? URL is changing. However, canonical tag is still pointing to swaddle blanket, so URL stays the same. So actually, these filters can create sometimes tens or sometimes even hundreds or millions of URLs if you are talking about big websites due to all the possible combinations. So like amount of URLs, it's pretty endless. What else can create additional variations? Sorting. So we can sort the information in the product listing page, for example, by price, by name, so it depends on the project. But again, it adds another variation to the URL. However, canonical is still pointing to the main page. So, and what is important to understand for us, actually, we consider this to same as still the same page. So we don't consider that for us another URL is another page, right? So we just have narrowed the content and sorted it. What else we can do? We can go to the page 2 and it will add another parameter. So we can actually remove the filter and go to page 2. This time, content of the page will slightly change, so we will have another products there, but still we consider this as the part of the swaddle blankets. Therefore, canonical still points to swaddle blankets. In some cases, pagination has self-referencing canonical. For this specific setup, it can be defined usually by a SEO team. But more common is that we have canonical pointing to the clean category page. What else we can have? So the variations we just covered were about narrowing, sorting, or going from one page to another. However, there can be also quite a lot of variations of the URL caused by various parameters related to tracking and digital analytics. So for example, we want to know that people to our page came from some LinkedIn campaign, or sometimes we might need to track some session IDs or any other things we would like to track. So those are also causing additional variations of URL. question is why it's important, why it's so crucial for your website to have canonicals, and why you will get pinged by a SEO team if you won't have ones. Because while we considered that the PLP for us was the one page, so just slightly adjusted, reordered, etc., Google, by default, it's smart, but it's not so smart to understand that all these are variations of the one page. Google just goes through the code of each page independently, and if there is no canonical tag, each of them is considered as a separate page. Sometimes Google can identify itself that some of the URLs are just copies or slightly adjusted pages, sorted, filtered. But quite often, if there are backlinks involved and certain URLs are quoted somewhere on the internet, Google might consider, for example, that this page with source from LinkedIn is quite important. Possibly, let's imagine that it was shared quite a lot in blogs, forums, etc. So it earned some authority. Therefore, along with the main one and some filtered pages, for example, somebody maybe also shared them in some forums or with friends, and they appeared somewhere on the internet. So they might be considered as important ones, and Google just starts to index them, not connecting with the main one. So those pages might start to compete with the main URL in Google results for same keywords. This is called keyword cannibalization. This is something we want to avoid. When we implement canonical tag, what is happening? That we pass the backlinks value, or so-called link juice, to one URL. So basically, we are ensuring that all value is consolidated to one URL and it becomes stronger in Google search results. That's what we are trying to achieve. So now, with canonicals implemented, this page has more competitive advantages compared to competitors in organic traffic. So that's the main reason why we need canonical tags. And actually, if we take a practical example, then in one case where we implemented a canonical tag on the website, which had quite messy URL structure previously, and a lot of URLs, different URLs for the same product, were linked internally. So we cleaned it up and got actually an increase in organic traffic for 6% just by making sure that canonical is working properly. Regarding the implementation of canonical tag, when it comes to the implementation of canonical tag, Magento 2 by default allows to easily apply canonicals to product listing pages and product description pages. Same has been implemented for Scandi PWA out of the box. However, what is important, that it's important to do QA of canonical tags, because if they are not present, it's kind of okay-ish, kind of you can survive. Still, it might lower your rankings. Remember the 6%. However, if there is an error, it can lead to significant decrease in organic traffic if it's set up incorrectly. Therefore, always do QA, as in your Scandi PWA project. If you are handling one, you will have canonical tags out of the box for these two page types. What we usually do on Magento 2, using SEO extensions, we ensure that there is canonical tag also applied to homepage, CMS, and for blogs we sometimes use some custom solutions additionally. But usually what we do, we ensure that also homepage and CMS pages are receiving their canonical tags. And now let's see one more, our project, which is Sophie Conran. It's actually PWEA project. We are on PLP, Candles and Lightning. And you can see that there will be also canonical tag. So canonical tag pointing to the same URL. And if we do sorting and refresh the page, canonical will stay the same. Also, if we go to product, canonical is matching. Example, same Sophie Conran PDP page. So PDPs have slightly less possible variations than PLPs, but still we have canonical here matching the front-end URL. And if we add, for example, OTM parameter, it will be random one. So just random characters, but to show the idea that in this case, still we have same URL marked as canonical. So as the result, similarly like on Aden and Anai website, we have all the possible variations pointing to the clean URL and passing the link juice, and as well it's also strengthening internal linking. So whenever Google is accessing different URLs containing query parameters, it's guided to one unique URL, therefore it's scrolled more often, and along with past backlinks value, have more opportunities to rank higher in Google search results.